Hello everybody, this is Ricky Gaming and
Long name Jack.
today we'll be counting down the top 10 scary ghost stories. Number 10, shadowy figures. When I was little, every night when the lights were turned off and I went to sleep, two dark figures would descend from the ceiling. They walked quietly up to my bed and one stood on each side of my head, looking at me. I would cover my head with a blanket until one day I had the courage to tell my mother. She put a lamp in my room and told me to pray and ask them to leave. I slept with the lamp on all night to this day. So, what do you think those shadowy figures were?
I don't know, Tanner.
So I kind of think they're like some type of maybe animal or person, but that would be pretty weird. But I don't know what else they could be like unless they're ghosts. But
It could be a ghost.
or it's just some random hacking person that can fly through roofs. Cause that's possible. You know, quality. But number 2, number 11, number 9. Shoot, that took forever. Sorry. You got this.
That's okay.
Yes.
Caressed by a spirit.
Correct.
Caressed by the spirit, sorry.
Correct.
What?
Never mind, just read it.
Okay. My father died in 1996 when I was 10 years old and my brother was 12. We slept in a bunk bed and my brother had the upper bunk while I had the lower one. One night, I woke up in the middle of the night with someone softly caressing my head. I thought it was my brother and ignored it. When I went back to sleep, the feeling returned. I got out of bed and confronted my brother, but he was snoring quietly. I went back to bed and caressing began a third time. I've never prayed so hard in my life. I prayed until sunrise the next morning. So, Tanner, what do you think was the thing caressing that boy?
Honestly, I would feel like it may be his hair, to be completely honest. Because sometimes your hair kind of, if you have long hair at least, it kind of
Caresses you?
your head.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it might have been that.
It could be, or some little kid just under the bed.
Or for some reason his father's like, I will come down just to caress my son's head. Yes, that is good use. Alright. Number 8. Hands of blood and bone. But isn't your hand, though I have blood and bone and skin?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, whatever. Let's just read the story. And I love how happy we are reading scary stuff. 'Cause why not? When I was about 8 or 9 years old, my mother worked nights, like night shift, and we shared a double bed. One day I felt a strange presence in the bedroom. I had my eyes closed, and when I opened them, I saw hands wrapped around the bed from underneath. The hands are made of blood, bone, and hanging skin, and they started to climb up the bed. I turned away and there was a white shadow laying next to me. I managed after a long time to get up and run to my grandmother's room. She didn't dare come back to the room with me. Well, that had a lot of errors, spelling errors.
Yeah, it did. But I think the hands were just his imagination, or it was just a dream.
Or it was some random thing there, and he just thought it was hand. Because that does happen. Especially when it's dark, you can start seeing stuff that aren't there.
Yeah, I think that happened to me like, I don't know, 8 years old when I saw a cockroach for some weird reason.
Also,
and it
it's possible that it could have been like I don't. It's some type of thing where, like you're awake in your dream, and usually sometimes scary stuff happens. I don't remember the term. Ah, that makes me upset that I don't remember that term.
What term?
It's something like when you're asleep, but like you're awake in your dream. Like, and you can see, it's either happy, which is possible, or like super scary. But I wish I remember the term.
I always just call it sleep. Awake.
Oh no, sleep paralysis.
There.
Sleep paralysis. That's it. That's the term I was looking for. But number 7, spirit. My grandmother lived in my family during the last month of her life. She died in a sofa in our house on Saturday night. The following week, I started to see someone in white pass through the house. And when I went to look for them, there was never anyone there. My sister claimed that she actually saw physical forms. We were terrified for a good while until my sister and I could no longer sleep in our room because we were so terrified. My mother burned the couch in the backyard, and we never saw anything again. So, what do you think that was?
Probably was their imaginations, though.
Yeah, but why in the world would you burn a couch? Just because...
their grandma died there?
Yeah, I guess, but why would you want to get rid of your grandma? She's your family. Why would she do anything to you? Why wouldn't you be happy? Like, come on, it's just your good old grandma. She's probably going to knit you something random in the middle of the night and like, oh, thank you, grandma.
Yeah.
Like, come on, like, how is that bad?
My grandmother's still alive, except my granddad.
I wouldn't find that bad. Like, it's just a ghost grandma. She's just gonna protect you from any burglars.
I'm gonna say this is pretty disrespectful. When my grandpa died, I touched his nose.
What?
I touched his nose when he,
Oh.
Yeah. But I was like 7 years old. I just touched his nose for no reason.
Well, number 6.
Santa in Black. When I was about 5 or 6 years old, I woke up to a noise in my room. When I opened my eyes, there was a man standing in front of me, with a big brown beard, dark hair, and black clothes. I kept looking at him in fear and backed away on the bed until I was up against the wall. Then I felt the mattress sink down beside me and I started to cry when I looked again. He had vanished, but it seems as if there were someone lying next to me on the bed. I asked it to leave because I was afraid, and the bed returned to normal. I cried myself to sleep, and I still remember the man's face to this day. I've never met anyone who looked like that, and neither had my parents. So, who do you think the person that looked like, I don't know, when Santa or something like that?
Just your good old Santa Claus. Who doesn't mind your good old Santa? Like, come on, it's just Santa. Like, why would you be scared of Santa Claus?
Wait, Tyler, you know that Santa Claus has a white beard, right?
It's fine. He just dyed his hair color. Like, come on, just your friendly old Santa Claus. He's just gonna give you some free presents and sleep in your bed for some odd reason because he's tired, alright? Just calm down. It's not that scary. Alright. Number 5. That took a long time for me to say. The haunted building. I worked in an old building that was built in 1929. The space was closed for at least 20 years before we moved in because the previous owners had killed his wife. Oh. and then himself. No, that didn't happen at all. No, that's not good. We moved in 2 months ago, and almost every day at exactly 12:08 p.m., the bell for the front door rings. But there's never anyone there. We've looked at the security recordings and everything. There's never anyone there, or anything. The other day, I was alone in the office late in the evening. I was on my way out, so I turned off the lights and closed the windows, and activated the alarm. When I turned to close the door, the kitchen lights was on, even though I had turned them off. Another time I arrived in the morning, and the lights in the main room turned itself off. I even heard the sound of the switch flipping. The last straw was when I saw someone else's face next to mine in the reflection of the computer screen. There was no one there when I turned around. I decided to talk about these things with the builder manager's wife, who's lived in the building for several years. She assured me that it's actually pretty quiet in the building these days, and that there used to be a lot of more stranger occurrences. And at least now she can take the elevator by herself. I just laughed nervously. So, haunted buildings.
Yeah, haunted buildings.
Interesting stuff. And that one was kind of dark why it was haunted, but those are usually the reasons the buildings are haunted. But sometimes haunted building could be different, like lights randomly turning off could just be a random power issue.
Yeah, probably.
Lights turning on, though, with the switch actually flipping is kind of a different story. Some person could have always been there and just flipped it himself, and then just left.
Yeah, maybe like somebody's. Oh, look, the light's on. That should be
And
on.
the doorbell ringing could, and stuff like that, could also just be another electrical error.
Mhm.
But yeah, now we have number 4.
Number 4, nightmares. My mother always complained that she had a lot of nightmares, but she would never say that her dreams were about. One day, while we were at the mall, sorry.
That's fine.
I can't really see the mall. Okay. I suggested that she wait in the food court while I was getting our food. When I returned with our meals, she had a strange look on her face. So I asked her if she was okay. She said she was fine. So we finished our meals and left. As we were riding down the escalator to leave, I turned to ask to my mom that I almost had a heart attack because standing behind her was a man in a old-fashioned clothing, holding one of my mom's shoulders and looking at me with a very angry expression. She saw the shock on my face right away and shouted at me asking what was wrong. When I told her what I had seen, she started crying and said, "You just described the man that tries to kill me every night in my nightmares." So yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That one's actually kind of scared me a little bit. Gave me a little bit of goosebumps, because that's weird.
Yeah, a man just,
The person that you see in dreams that your son just saw.
Yeah, and that's the person who tried to kill her in her other dreams.
Wow, that's interesting. But let's move on to number 3. The spook faceless figure. Yes, it's the spook. It's a spook.
Not the spooky.
Spook. When I was 15 years old, I stayed up late watching a TV marathon with my sister in the middle of the night. After my sister had fallen asleep, I saw the nearby computer mouse start moving by itself. I called my mother into the room and she said it was probably a rat that was pulling on the cable from underneath the desk. Well, shouldn't you still be concerned about rats in the building? I don't know, just what was that?
I don't know. There was something that fell down.
Okay, but you should still be concerned about rats in your house. But let's continue. And then I should go to sleep. Suddenly I swear I saw a black figure with no face or human feature behind the bookcase. It looked in my direction and pointed. I nearly pooped myself with fear. Oh my goodness, that sounds so bad. I remember saying, "Who are you? I do not want you in my house. Nobody wants you here. Get out of here now." The thing left, and I actually heard it hit the cabinet before it just went through it. The cabinet began to sway and the door slammed and made a loud bang. So, what do you think that was?
Probably a poltergeist.
I think that was just some random person like, "Oh shoot, he actually saw me. Get out of here. Yeah, I gotta use my life hacks to go through this cabinet. Yeah." Yes, go through the cabinet. Go, go, go. He found out I was hacking. Go, go, go.
It was just a hologram that I made.
Oh no, I gotta run. But still, you should probably be, even if like the mouse is moving by itself and you say it's just a rat, shouldn't you be concerned that there's a rat in your house?
Yeah, man. Pest control. Yeah,
Like
man. Just call pest control or just get.
Call the Ghostbusters. Copyright is amazing. Okay, I'll shut up. Alright, and now, number 2.
Number 2, folks. My possessed mate. One time, my husband and I had some friends over to eat pizza. Sounds like me.
Yeah.
One of my friends, who was always been very mystical, began to feel ill in the kitchen and excused himself to our bedroom. That sounds like me and Tanner and friends, except for the ill part. Once he was in the bedroom.
Once he was in the bedroom.
Oh, okay. He started to rock back and forth and giggle in a voice that made my hair stand on end. How can you make your okay? Ran out of the room, shivering with fear. My husband went to check on him and soon returned saying our friend wanted to talk to me. I went into the bedroom where my friend walked up to me with his eyes rolled back to his, made a few little grunts, and said, "This is my house." Then he kneeled and kissed my feet, rubbed his hands on my belly, and motioned as though he was nursing a baby. When he knelt again, the phone rang loudly and he came out of the trance. About a month later, I found out I was pregnant. Oh my God. Which may explain the gesture he made. My father-in-law had died 8 months ago before this incident, which might explain the "this is my house" to the day it still terrified me.
That's interesting, actually. I would think he was drunk, but like he probably was just drunk.
He did say he was ill.
Yeah, and like he also could have been just drunk. Like, how much beers did you have? Man, calm down.
Man, you're only allowed to drink 10 beers, man. That's way too much. Actually, that's way too much. Just drink 5.
Yeah, I know, right? Way too much beers, man. Just calm down. Calm her down.
Don't get seriously drunk, you might pass out.
Alright. If I'm correct, this is number 2. Beaten up by a ghost. Oh, wow. How weak can you be if you got beaten up by something that's not even a physical form? Oh my goodness. I feel bad for you, man. You got beat up by something that can't even hit you.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Alright, let's go. 4 years ago, I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was a woman. And it was a woman ghost!
Oh, baby.
Oh, no, man.
That's embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
Clap for the hands of embarrassment.
Alright, but 4 years ago, I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was a woman. Was there a woman in a black dress standing and it was in a dress! Standing beside my bed. When I sat up, she started to accuse me of having done things that I have not done, saying that I have apparently stolen someone from her. I don't know what she was going through, what were going through my head to agree with the ghost. But eventually I decided to ignore her and go back to... How can you go to sleep if there's something looking at you?
Yeah, man, you can't just go...
She then pulled me out of my bed while attacking my body. She suddenly disappeared and I was so afraid I couldn't go back to sleep. The whole thing felt so real I was actually sore that next day. Especially around my ankles, where she had grabbed me and pulled me from my bed. That's just some probably drunk girl in your room. I don't know why you fell asleep if there's someone in your room. Come on now.
I think when it said she disappeared, I think she just knocked
him out.
Yeah,
you knocked him out and then ran.
And then it was a hit and run.
Hit and run! Oh, but that's sad that you actually got picked up by a girl in a dress that was drunk and a ghost.
Oh, baby.
Alright, but number 1, the devilish joke.
I was once played with a Ouija board. Ouija boy.
It's fine that you didn't know that.
So many people say Luigi board. In my room with a friend, we tried to light some candles, and crazy as it sounds, they just wouldn't light up. No matter how long I held the match to them, after a little while I managed to light them, and we turned off the lights the lights and closed the windows.
You should listen to life. When light tells you don't do anything and won't let you light a candle, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. We don't care. Out of nowhere, my friend's mother called her, asking if everything was okay with her. Apparently, she suddenly felt a pang of worry. After my friend...
Life. Listen to life, buddy. Always listen to life, even especially when your mother's feeling it. Listen.
After my friend calmed her mother down, we started using the Ouija board, but nothing happened. Other than the candles flame moved kind of strange. That means it's gonna be something's gonna go. I thought I was gonna say it was gonna go down, but sure, that too. Later in the evening, after my friend had already gone home, I felt a sensation of being watched.
Listen to life, buddy. You shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, man. Never mess with the Ouija board.
Yeah, you don't want Waluigi coming into your house.
And playing tennis for about 10 hours. Alright, where was I? Since I was distracted by Waluigi. I ignored it and went to sleep, but had nightmares about being chased by a scary beast with enormous claws, and when I managed
Waluigi!
I'd rather say that's Bowser.
Nah, Waluigi. He is spooky.
I managed to wake up. I saw that my legs were scratched up. I couldn't sleep anymore, so I threw the Ouija board in the trash and slept cuddled up next to my mother for 2 weeks.
Always listen to life, buddy, especially when Waluigi doesn't like you. Listen to life.
Yeah,
well,
man, I think Waluigi got
Waluigi
just got defeated by a kid.
Waluigi's OP. Well, that's the top 10 scary stories. We're done here, and always listen to life when you shouldn't be playing with Waluigi boards, because Waluigi boards don't like you. All right.
Later.
See ya.